something significant happened to you in July 33 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly something I've never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
And I doubt very many of our listeners, if any of them, have heard anything like this before. So if you would start with what was going on, what happened, and then we'll progress from there.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I don't really have a specific memory of that day. I have some retrograde amnesia, but this is what I was told happened, and this is what happened in the aftermath. But that is, when my life changed. My life was never going to be the same. My husband and I have 3 children. 2 of them at the time are on a swim team. There was a huge championship swim meet. And so I kind of remember going out to dinner with some friends on Friday night. I don't really remember much over the weekend, but I do just vaguely remember on Sunday, because it was a weekend-long meet.
Mm-hmm.
So I do remember on Sunday somebody announcing that they were going to have a fun adult relay before they finished the whole conclusion of the events and let all the other swimmers swim. So I grabbed my husband, I grabbed a couple friends, and I'm very competitive. I'm a marathon runner. I was doing a lot of triathloning, so I was swimming a lot. And I said, come on, we're going to swim this and we're going to win this. And I'm the fastest, so I'm going to swim the last leg of the event. So that's what I sort of remember and I was told happened. So we got in the pool to swim. I did swim the last leg of the event. It ended up at the side of the pool that was 13 feet deep. And so I have zero memory, but I was told the timer asked if I needed help out. I said, no, I'm fine. And something happened, and I just sunk to the bottom of the pool. Well, there was a couple of people there. They realized I wasn't surfacing. My husband dove to the bottom of the pool, got me to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, because there were a lot of children there were a lot of parents there. And very luckily, some of those parents, one was an ER doc, one was a cardiac nurse specialist, one was a respiratory doc, whatever. And so I received really good CPR at poolside. So I was told later, over 20 minutes of CPR at poolside. There is a field close to that. They landed a helicopter in the football field close to this place, and I was life-flighted to University of California, Davis Medical Center. I was told my heart stopped again in the helicopter. They got it going, and that's when I did land at UC Davis in an ICU on a respirator, and that's the life I knew changed. So there was definitely a before and an after. Not only the life I knew, but the life then my husband would know and my children would know. I mean, things changed. Because I was super, I was already a nurse practitioner at the time. So I worked part-time, very engaged in our children's life, very much, I got this. Just a really active, busy, healthy person. And when this happened, it just really threw me for a loop.
And you're speaking to so many of our listeners right now who are in that exact same space, who maybe haven't had the same episode that you had, because your heart stopped several times. In essence, you died.
Oh, yeah. I was without respirations and a heartbeat while they were doing the CPR. So, yeah, it was it was very surprising that I actually survived all this. And actually, as one of the doctors told me one time when they were trying to figure out exactly what happened, because I went through all the tests you could go through. I went through just multiple tests. Nobody could really identify what was the causing factor of this. And I remember going to see a doctor by Stanford, a cardiologist, Roger Winkle, and he was sort of the guru of electrophysiology aspects of the heart. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting with him, and the first thing he said to me is, well, I got a couple of things to say. Number one, you are the luckiest person I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody who had that much CPR, who A, is alive, and B, sitting up here talking to me. B, your life has changed. Your life has changed forever. And there's decisions about how you are going to live your life. And those are your decisions. And then he just kind of gave me some ideas about what I could do, best ways to strategize around this and to get back into life. And it was pretty overwhelming.
For many of us, we have some indication, we have some symptoms, something's going on, we know it's wrong, which obviously creates stress and in some cases trauma. You have a heart attack, that's a traumatic event. And then it may progress, or it may just stay at that, let's call it an uncomfortable baseline of uncertainty until we get to wherever it is that we end up, whether it's medical therapy or if it's surgery. But all of these things do compound. And certainly when you have some indication of something's wrong, all you can do is dwell on it because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. You had no indication, and then you had a severe situation, and in the immediate post of that, because you didn't have any surgery, you didn't have anything corrective because they didn't know what went wrong.
Right.
You just ended up in the hospital, something happened, and then they said, okay, you seem better, go home.
Well, there was a couple of things I want to do, and I do want to underscore that, maybe obviously I didn't realize what was happening before, but in the aftermath, believe me, I thought about it all the time.
I'm sure.
All the time.
Could it happen again? Could 100%. I walk down the street?
I constantly was like, what if this happens again? What if this happens again? And I'll kind of get into that in a bit, but also this notion of, I was so active. I don't smoke, didn't drink, very, very active. And I remember just feeling like, I can't believe my body let me down. I had taken such good care of myself. I cannot believe my body let me down. And I was angry kind of about that for sure. The other thing too is you're trying to get back into life, you are looking at, well, what can I do? What's safe? What's not safe? Because I am a runner, and that running and that triathloning, that wasn't just that was a social thing for me. That was my mental health. There was so many things that those activities did for me. And for somebody, especially right after this happened, several doctors just, you can never do that again. Because when I would ask, when can I run again? You'll never run again. When can I? You'll never do that again. And I remember saying to this doctor, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop telling me what I can't do. You need to tell me what I can do. You need to ask me what I want to do. And our job is to get me there. Now, they did want to they wanted to put in an implantable defibrillator.
Sure.
And I just, I don't want to get into it because it takes a long time to kind of go over why I thought through this, why I didn't want to do this, all the things around it, but I chose not to do that and instead went in some different directions with that. But I remember doctors literally being angry with me for not doing that. But it just didn't fit with me that I wanted something like that inside. So I did some medication for a while, a beta blocker, and then luckily, my husband and I found a cardiologist, fabulous cardiologist, Dr. Dan Van Hammersveld, who's a runner. And he said, okay, let's all calm down, relax. We'll get you back on there, but let's start this way. And he sent me to cardiac rehab, which I clearly was the youngest person there. I was only 35. So I was clearly but I cannot tell you how fabulous that was.
Oh, it built confidence and you felt
camaraderie.
Support.
Totally. Absolutely. And I just started walking on the treadmill all hooked up. And then I started doing a little jog. And this was over a few months. This didn't happen overnight. This was a few months.
If we could step back just for a second, when you were in the hospital, you actually did suffer some traumatic brain injury, correct?
Oh, that I suffer. Well, and it's funny. That was like ongoing for a while. And it's so funny. As I told you, I have a degree in nursing and I am a nurse practitioner. And when I was going through this, I really knew, like I could talk, but I had a thing called aphasia.
Yes.
So that is where it's a certain, you have different speech parts in your brain. And one of the speech parts in your brain has to do with you articulate your thinking. So I, again, could speak, but I couldn't capture memories and capture some words. So as an example, my husband asked me one time, can I get you something? And I really wanted an orange. And I could not say orange, but I could say it's one of those things. They're round. You peel them. There's vitamin C in them, and that type of thing. Or when I first became aware, first woke up in the hospital because I was out of ICU. I was, 2 weeks in the hospital when I kind of first woke up, and I saw, or first became aware of my surroundings, and I saw my brother and sister-in-law at the end of the bed. And I said to them, where am I? And they said, well, and I'm sure they told me this 3 billion times. And they said, well, you had this event, you're in the hospital, all that. And by that time, all the wires were gone. Everything was gone. And I used to be an ICU nurse. And I pulled my gown and I didn't see any burns. I go, no, that couldn't happen. No, that happened. And then they said, can we get you something? And my absolute favorite meal is a cheeseburger, French fries, and vanilla shake. And I said, yes, I want one of those things like they're layers and there's this brown and yellow stuff on it and like green stuff on it, and you can drive through places and get it, and it comes with these long things you put salt on and a cup of this cold white, and that's basically was what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go through the process, you get to cardiac rehab, you're building your confidence back that
Yes.
you're stable and can function in the world. Certainly no strength. I'm imagining it took quite some time to get back. If we can go through that and then fast forward to what got you to even where you are today, because that was not overnight.
Oh, no. I always tell people things happened over time, not overnight. And there was just, and I do want to bring this forward too, that I went through this, and when I've talked to people who've gone through this, one of the biggest things they deal with is depression, because your life has changed and things seem so out of control. And, sometimes you're not given choices. And that I think was that's part of, I've come to in my research, definitely know that is part of cardiac surgical issues, post-CABG surgeries and things like that. People will have some cognitive delays and some depression. And I think that really needs to be addressed. And you also need to know that that's part of the process. So I tell people, try not to get too worried about that, because it would make sense to be depressed. Your life has changed. Your life is not going to be the same. But as you go forward, you start to realize what control you can take over decisions being made, choices you can make, and a reentry strategy and plan. And always make the focus, even on the here and now, what you can do. Well, I can't do this. I can go. You know what? Don't go there, because that's just too. What can you do? I can walk. What can you do? I think I've got things a little smarter than yesterday. I can go to a speech therapist and they can help me with cognition. I can go to a therapist who can help me deal with some of the depression I've got. There's so many things you can do.